All right, guys, so for this video, we're going to be talking about graph style patterns. So these are the ones that when you print them out, they have lines on them. So they're not a table of numbers. They're going to have the actual graphic kind of printed out and expanded out for you. And what we're specifically going to be talking about is taking a single layer or a single color graph style pattern and quickly coloring it to make it easier to identify the different parts of our pattern, just in case we want to turn it into a multi-layer pattern where certain parts get folded to certain depths or perhaps in different directions, some inverted, some embossed. And the advantage of having them color-coded, instead of just trying to kind of pick out by eye as you're folding which parts go to which parts of your design, is it just makes it a lot easier, right? So like blue things get folded to a certain depth, red things get folded to a different depth or in a different direction. So it just makes it a lot faster and a lot easier for your eye to pick up on as you're folding. So looking at this preview on the cover sheet here, we can tell that this is a single layer or a single color because it's all one color on the preview. Now, if we look at a different preview like this one, you can see that we have black, we have red, and we have blue. So this would be a multi-layer or multi-color style pattern. And just to give you kind of a look at what the patterns look like, so the single layer obviously is all black, and then your multi-layer will have different colors throughout the actual pattern. So these parts are your blue parts, your red parts, your black parts, etc. Okay, so the best way that I found to do this is literally to color the pieces of your pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my preview page. And you're going to need to decide how many layers you want to make your pattern. So if you want, say, all the words to be one layer and then you want the cross to be a different layer, you would need two different colors. So say blue and red. If you wanted to do 3 different layers, like have the cross one style or one, thing, and then you wanted like all the cursive writing to be a different depth, and then the boxier writing to be a third depth, then you would need 3 colors. So say red and blue and purple or orange or whatever color it is that you may have on hand. Now, you can color this a couple different ways. I find that highlighters work great. So if you have a couple different color highlighters, also markers that are lighter in color but still show up. So like something that's not super pigmented, you don't want to use like a navy blue marker or like a dark purple, that's going to be hard to distinguish between black and, whatever other color. So something like this is a regular marker, but it's kind of a lighter mossy green, that would be fine. You can use colored pencils. You can also use crayons. These are the gel crayons. I love these things. I use them for coloring my book folds too, but they work great for color coding your patterns. And basically all you're going to do is, starting with your cover sheet, I like to color code my cover sheet as well. So say we're going to leave the cross black because there's no need to color everything, right? So let's leave the cross black. And let's say we want to do 3 different layers. So we'll do a black layer, we'll do our boxy layer orange. My orange highlighter is getting a little tired here. And then let's say we want to use blue for our cursive writing. So I color code my preview so that way I can keep track. And because your single layer patterns don't always or won't always come with a key down the bottom, most of my patterns have them included on all the patterns, whether they're multi-layer or not. But you'll also want to put, your handwritten key, like orange gets folded to, 0.7 centimeters, blue gets folded to 1.2, and black gets embossed to whatever, you want to put your key at the bottom. And if you aren't familiar with how to fold multi-layer patterns and you need like a more in-depth tutorial, I have that as well. I'll link it in the description box below, but I already have like a full walkthrough of how to like set up your key and fold it all and all that good stuff. So we're just going to focus on actually coloring it. But that's literally all we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to find these parts of our pattern and we're going to physically color them. So I'm going to keep my key kind of in view here and I'm going to start working my way through my pattern. So what's going to happen is when you're looking at your pattern itself, it's going to work from left to right. But you'll be able to kind of tell by what your pattern looks like what pieces are what in your pattern. So these kind of jagged lines right here, these ones here are going to be my cross. And then these guys here are going to be my boxy letters. And then these swirly ones here at the bottom are going to be my cursive letters. So like I said, I can kind of tell by where they're situated what parts are going to need to get colored what. So my cursive writing is blue. So it's up to you guys, but you can do this either one piece at a time or one part at a time. But basically, I know that my cursive writing starts here. So there's two different ways you can do this. You can go through and highlight the whole kind of bar, if you will. You can go this way, you can go this way, you know, whatever works for you. You can also just take your marker and kind of draw through all of the pieces. So if you're not looking to do something crazy and use up all of your ink, you can either do a thick line, a fat line, a thin line, whatever kind of works. Once the pieces start getting a little bit closer to each other, so like these guys are kind of close. So my blue is getting sort of close to my orange. So like here, I might go through and just, you know, highlight the whole bar. And then just to show you guys what the crayon looks like. So that was using a highlighter, but you can do the same thing, like I said, with a crayon. This is an orange crayon. But my lettering starts here and here. So all of this is going to be orange. Now, these are very pigmented crayons. They're almost like, if you're a female, they're almost like an eyeliner type of texture. So it requires absolutely zero pressure to use these, which is one reason that I love them. They do take a minute to dry down, but they do dry down. So just make sure that you touch all of your lines. And you want to make sure that you're touching, like I said, every single one of them. So let me find something pointy here. So for example, I guess I'll use a pen cap. For example, like these two orange pieces are separate pieces. We don't want to accidentally not get orange on that bar and this bar. We want to make sure that we're doing both of them, because even though this is a fairly bold pattern, like it's very easy to distinguish, like this is black, these are my orange, this is blue. There are going to be some patterns where you have like smaller bits of other colors kind of intermingled within other colors of your pattern. So like it might be like orange and then it might jump around and have some blue mixed in here and then some orange parts down here and then black again. So you want to make sure that you're highlighting every single piece of your pattern to what it needs to be. So again, if we flip to this one, you can tell this is kind of my cross here. These are all boxy letters. And I lied, these are your boxy letters. These would be your cursive letters because it goes all the way through. This is your E and your N. So I would just go through with my blue. I would highlight all of my blue parts. Just like that. And then you can take your orange and do the same thing. So I tend to kind of go something like this. And if they're longer lines, I kind of put a couple of them if I'm not going to highlight the whole thing. But I just go through and make sure that I'm getting all of my pieces here color coded And it doesn't have to be neat. It doesn't have to be pretty. Nobody is going to see this but you, unless you share it with the whole internet. But nobody is going to see this other than you. So it doesn't matter how you choose to do this. It doesn't matter if you're a super visual person and you have to color in every single bar. That's fine. If you've been doing this a while and, you know, you can kind of blast through it because you're used to taking a single color and just figuring it out, that's fine too. You know, the single lines might work better and save a little bit of ink or save a little bit of time. But it just makes it visually a lot easier to pick out those parts. I mean, you saw I quickly flipped through and I was like, oh, these are all boxy letters. But if I look back at my preview here, I don't have any parts of my pattern where it's just boxy letters. That enough goes all the way under. It goes all the way basically through my pattern other than where that cross is. So again, I referred back kind of to my preview here and I was like, nope, that's wrong. They're not all boxy letters. Let me go through. So you can go through page by page and do all of your blue parts if you want, if that's easier, and then pick out all your orange parts and then you'll be left with only your black. You know, again, just like everything in book folding, it's a lot of how you choose to do it. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys how easy it is to take a single layer and make it into a multi-layer color-coded style. And you would just go through and you would do all of your different pages. This kind of crazy looking thing is that UR. So these would be all blue because that's my cursive writing. And this is my cross here. So if you look, this is going to be where this is, my cursive writing, and you can tell just kind of by how it looks. So I would color all of this blue, and then this would remain black. So hopefully that helps you guys. Like I said, take it color by color, take it step by step, color as much or as little as you need to. But I just wanted to share that kind of little tip with you guys to hopefully make some of the patterns that you guys may already own a little bit easier for you guys to use if you want to try out the multi-layer version.